Evening. Hope you're all right. How's it going? Have you had a good Sunday? Like I said to you last night, if you was there, I went to the outdoor expo today. It was good, man. Absolutely rammed. It was a good old time. I have got a pint of tea, so we will be here until the tea's gone. How's that sound? It's a pint, so it's one of those, isn't it? Got a lot of questions. I've asked for the questions on Instagram. If you want to get involved, go and ask the questions on Instagram. I'll probably be reading some of the chat in here as well. I see Harry Maguire's just returned back to Carrington after getting injured. Nice one. It is what it is. So let's get into the questions of everybody on Instagram, and we'll get in there. What player does Manu remind you of? Loads of players, actually. The way he turns in possession, I'm not sure. There's parts of his game remind me of Michael Carrick. There's parts of his game remind me of like a less ferocious kind of Roy Keane, especially more in the final third stuff. Someone mentioned Frankie de Jong, and I was like, oh, actually, that's not the craziest shout. The way he carries himself, like his frame, obviously, he visually looks like a Seedorf. He's got the same sort of build and that as him. And Christ on a bike, if you could be half as good as Seedorf, we've got a serious footballer in our hands, haven't we? What a player he was, by the way. And what an absolute animal. Lucky enough to meet Seedorf at the World Cup, actually. And the guy's a beast. He's absolutely jacked. Rorario says, Southgate has an amazing attacking players and still plays boring / shit football. No for United. I don't think anyone is going to disagree with you on that one. Hitch says, happy for us to miss out on Champions League for the next 2 seasons if it meant we built a side to compete for titles after that. So that's an interesting one, isn't it? Because you go, okay, this is offer and acceptance, right? Contract 101. Can you offer that, though? Can you offer a team that's going to compete for titles based on the fact that they'd have to battle and scrape through Europa League? I mean, ultimately, you would. But it's not going to be enjoyable while you do that. And again, is everybody in on this? Because the board probably would have got rid of it, as one of those. Speaking of someone just mentioned Ineos there. So Ineos Grenadier had this huge stage and 2 of the Ineos Grenadier motors on display. Nice cars. They are nice cars. A lot of people on the IRL channel, we spoke about, I did a video about narrowing down one of 3 cars. It was a VW Transporter, the new Defender, and the old Defender we were looking at as an IRL wagon. We've bought one of them. And Ineos Grenadier probably could have been a decent consideration in the grand scheme of things, but the decision has been made, and that video is probably the next one on the IRL channel. Jeremy says, Hasty, why do United away fans wear all black? It is a club cultural thing to United. Generally don't see United. I mean, you do, but things have changed enormously in the last 20 years, and they will have changed. I mean, if you took it decade by decade, if you take it to the 70s, everybody wore colours. That was how you identified who was on whose side when they were kicking fuck out of each other. You take it to the 80s, the lads wanted to travel to places a little bit more covert, and what ended up happening with United was everybody wore black. They became known as the Men in Black. That's where Tony O'Neill's fame comes from, as like the sort of head guy of United's hooligan firm, aka the Men in Black. And it got a little bit more sinister in the 80s, and people didn't want to rock colours, didn't want to be associated with it, and as often happens, that sort of nefarious hardcore hooligan sort of thing gets admired by the younger ones coming up. They want to emulate that sort of thing. They want to act like they belong in that sort of thing, so they start copying and replicating what they see and how the older ones are wearing it, so it ends up then getting passed down. And I know, to me, fucking wearing black at United feels the right thing to do. Like, and it's certainly an away game for sure, man. Sam says, just watched Walker Part 2. Seemed like we've missed a few cheeky gems edited, but great overall chat. I wish I could show you how much it got fucking edited. Put it this way, it got edited more than one of mine and Ash's. You probably guess who edited it and maybe why. How did I enjoy Wales and Finland the other night? How do you rate us for Tuesday? Form-wise, we should be pretty close, although Poland have Lewandowski as a game winner. The problem is, like, when you have an absolute match winner and it's a centre forward, people go, oh yeah, goal threat. And I think he will be a goal threat. There's no doubt about it. But Wales do have more of a team ethic about them, and I think they've got a decent chance. I would say if you take Lewandowski out of the occasion, I think Wales, player for player, probably averages a touch higher. Lewandowski levels it up and might even tip the balance in the favour for Poland, but can he do it all on his own? Now, Gareth Bale used to do it all on his own for Wales. Can Lewandowski do it all on his own for Poland? This isn't a vintage Poland side, but it also isn't a vintage Wales side. So I think it'll be 50-50. I think it'll be a real good game. I think it'll be harder than Thursday was, by a long, long way. A long, long way. Let's get back on what was the question that we was talking about. I don't know what even question we was talking about. I was talking about the Ineos Grenadier, wasn't I? And cars and whatever. All right. Who's my next England manager when Southgate goes? No idea. Connor says, just smash an hour out in the gym. Great, listen after it. Fair play. Ian says, what are my Euro picks for player of the tournament? Top scorer, biggest surprise team-wise, biggest flop team-wise, surprising player, which home nation goes further? England will be the home nation that goes further. Come on. Surprise team, Germany. Surprise player. Ooh, I don't know on that one. I don't know about surprise player or top scorer. Top scorer, probably Mbappe, boringly, but like it probably will be. Or Harry Kane. Have I watched the old Ray Mears series called Country Tracks? I haven't, no. Actually, no. Notch says, I didn't necessarily need football away days to wear black at one point. Hashtag goth phase. A couple of you mentioning Potter. I hope not. I hope not. Mitch says, would I ever consider starting a Paddock FC abroad right now and Canada crying out for something like it? It'd be really interested in starting something like Paddock. All I will say to you is, mate, it is fucking so much more work than I anticipated it to be. So much more work. It could be a full-time job, and I have like 3 of them already. It's killer. Can I talk about the early days on a fan channel? Been watching for 18 months and would like a history lesson, says Oliver. Yeah, it was started by a guy called Pete, who was a United fan, who worked at a production company. So used the fact that he worked at a production company to get it going, put together a staff. There's a guy called Neil, was like the first producer of the channel. Neil came from Big Breakfast and Soccer AM, and is now, I think he's operations manager at Hashtag. He's an absolute ledge, knows the game inside and out, and he was really valuable in like so many of our, I guess you call them careers now, really, realistically, wouldn't you? So, myself, Adam, Statman Dave, Sam Homewood, True Geordie, Lawrence, Adam Boltwood, Hugh Wizzy, True Geordie, like so many of us passed through the Football Republic, Rory, because of Neil and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, I mean, I don't know which bit of history on top of that you need, really. I got involved because I had a blog writing about United, and they was looking for people that made United content to make more United content, essentially. That's how it worked. Adam was kind of doing vlogs and stuff. That's one of those, isn't it? Wetbird says, I always thought Paddock would have a disability team first. If I've worded wrong, I apologise. It's on the cards. It is something I want to do. Actually, I spoke to a lady at the FA about ultimately, like, we are this worldwide community where everybody can have a say and a vote, and there'll be a vote coming out probably tomorrow, actually. There's like 3 that I need to get out quick, and I've just not had the time to write it all up. but there'll be a vote coming out tomorrow in relation to adding a team to the club, because all major decisions go through the team, as is the game. I want everything. I want to represent the community. I would like, and the disability teams. It's hard to, like, you can have a deaf team, you can have a blind team, you can have a cerebral palsy team, but they need to play against people with similar disabilities to make them competitive games. Out of all of the disability teams, I would imagine a deaf team looks closest to, regular amateur football. But I would like to represent all of those things. I want boys and girls, men's and women's teams. I want to represent the whole community. I don't believe football is just a blokes or a boys thing, and it shouldn't be treated like that. And it shouldn't just be an able-bodied thing either. You can adapt football, and you should adapt football. I grew up with a blind kid in my class at school, and he did a lot of his work. He had a special helper with him. Everybody in our school on the back of that learnt Braille. And we played football with a bell in it, so he could get involved. So it's like, I think that's how it should be. And I absolutely want to make sure that we as a, not just, when people think community, they automatically think local. But to me, the community isn't just local. Like, this is an online community, and the Paddock ownership is a worldwide kind of community. And John says there, one of the biggest fans of the club is a wheelchair user. Yeah, I would say several of the biggest fans of the club are wheelchair users. And again, it makes you think about all sorts of, is there a dog behind me? Yeah. Is he? Right, yeah. Oh, there he is. That makes you things like, obviously one of the biggest things that I'm working on at the moment is trying to find us our own home. And it's not just considerations for disabled fans. It fucking annoys me to my core why United put our most vulnerable fans right in front of the away fans. Like, your most vulnerable fans, I'm not saying you should treat them better than every other fan, but you have to be aware of the needs that they've got and not treat them any worse than any other fan. So I would like to make sure that any fans that have, special needs and things like that are treated like that. That blind kid that I went to school with, actually, when I had my 9th birthday at Old Trafford, and they give you a tour around Old Trafford, and I didn't even know this at the time until they took us in there. And obviously we've got a blind kid with us on as part of my party. And they went and explained that they had these seats. It was actually in the corner where the disabled fans are now, but it wasn't there at the time. So at the bottom of J stand, they had like 24 seats that had commentary boxes built into them, so they could plug headphones in and listen, so they can be in the atmosphere but listening to commentary to find out exactly what's going on. I think that's fucking awesome. And I think that's how it should be, man. Who was my celebrity crush growing up? Oh, Denise Van Outen, probably. Got to have a retractable pitch and roof for sure. Not a fucking Paddock we won't have, mate. It'll have a 4G pitch and it'll be about 2,800 people tops. The membership is a yearly thing, I presume. How do we know if the membership is up? Hope you see this. The system is not perfect. It will be from the 12-month of when you got it last. There is also a monthly option. If you go to Paddock and hit fan ownership, there is a month, like £5 a month option, like available right now. Ash there with a super chat says, "Hey Steve, been enjoying the content since Full-Time Devils. After all he took over as interim, I'd always seen him as the perfect fit for us, so gutted when he got sacked. How do I feel about him?" I feel he's I feel as time goes on, people are going to realise he did a far better job than he was getting credit for, both at the time and immediately after he went. Michael Riviera says, "I'm number 19. I don't want to lose it." Fair play. Good number. That is early. That is definitely early, yeah. Danny says, "Why are pundits talking about United job when Chelsea and Newcastle both struggling? Liverpool need a new gaffer." You know why. Yeah, you know why. Judge Dead Baby says, Ollie should have gotten the rest of the season to try and turn it around. No, I won't rewrite history. I thought at the time that he went, it was probably the right time for him to go. But I do think he did a better job than people were thinking he did at the time, if that honestly makes sense. Any pages or channels for people who want to start hiking? Well, I'm hoping Howson IRL becomes that, because we're doing a lot of stuff that's real basic kind of stuff. I mean, a lot of hiking is just fucking walking in the countryside, realistically. I don't know what the definition of, I kind of do all. I kind of do stuff where tomorrow morning I'm doing a walk where I'm walking my dog. I don't know if I would have the audacity to call it a hike. Does a hike need to be over a certain? Let's fucking ask ChatGPT, the old fucking secret producer. Let's ask it. What defines a hike? But I also do climb mountains in the winter where they require equipment, so that's not a walk. It'd be interesting to see whatever this reckons is the definition of a hike, because I actually don't know, which is pretty shit, really, isn't it? Distinguishing a hike from a walk primarily revolves around the setting, intensity, and purpose. A hike usually takes place in natural settings such as forests, mountains, or parks, designed for more rugged activities. Walks, on the other hand, can occur in more urban or suburban environments. Terrain and difficulty. Hiking typically involves more challenging terrain, which might include steep inclines, rocky paths, or uneven ground. Walks are usually flat, relatively smooth. Hikes tend to be longer in duration. Doesn't give you I don't know, maybe it's a gut check thing, isn't it? Is it a hike or is it a walk? I guess that's up to you. And where does a trek come into this? What happens to Darren Fletcher when all these changes happen? Fuck knows. Honestly, don't know. If I could build a stadium or ground and training facilities, where would I build it? For Paddock FC, I think it has to be in ultimately, the problem is there's two places in Stretford. There's Longford Park and there's Turnmoss, and Gary Neville got fucked off trying to develop Turnmoss. I ain't even going to bother asking. Longford Park is a bit of a nature reserve, not going to happen. They're the only two green spaces that you could even think about having anywhere in actual Stretford. So I would expand it to anywhere within the borough of Trafford would be fine. Being called Stretford Paddock and being based in Droylsden doesn't really work. We were offered some land in Salford. That doesn't really work, especially it would take so fucking long to get to as well, because it was a mad gaff to get to. GGH says, congrats on a fan dance. Have I looked at, am I considering the Yorkshire Free Peaks? Yes, I'm hoping to do that before the end of this year. Love to see Rio on a tab. You're not going to see Rio on a tab. You might see Ash on a tab. You're not going to see Rio on a tab for sure. Would Ineos bring back the old Man United crest on the kit? Who knows? What's the one position at United they shouldn't overlook apart from the key ones? I guess it depends on what you define as key. I think having a good under 21s and under 18s manager is key. You look at what Erik Harrison did and what Warren Joyce did. That's really needed. Someone that's gonna fucking batter them lads, really. Recommend any good war shows like Band of Brothers. Generation Kill. If you've not seen Generation Kill, it's Generation Kill. And then just watch Generation Kill. It's going to take you 10 hours or so. Just watch it. Connor says, thoughts on Mokaev not getting the next shot due to apparently being boring. I mean, Khabib was boring. Eventually, you have to give him his shot. I mean, he's so fucking quickly getting there. He'll get his chance. JH says Salford or Stockport, 2 clubs, and if I had to live in either place. Don't know. If you're talking about like the centres, Salford and Stockport, I wouldn't want to live in either, really. And the clubs, I have no affiliation to either of them, realistically. So, I mean, I would probably lean towards Salford because of the ownership, but otherwise, I don't really have anything major going for them, really. Just, yeah, don't know. I haven't read the Duncan Edwards book. There's a couple. There's one up here, um, and there's one called The Greatest, which is absolutely sensational. They're both very good. What was my hardest CFT? I did one on my juniors. I nearly failed. Um, I was talking about this the other day. It was a fucking talking. It was Ash. Um, some sometimes on a CFT they would put like the first 4 miles at a fucking unfathomably hard pace just to fuck as many people off as possible, and then the last 4 miles would do it just fucking easy because obviously they had to come in within a certain specified time. Um, yeah, there's one of my juniors that I fucking well struggled with because of that. And you struggle as well when it starts doing the concertina thing. At the front, you can be what this is. If there's a scientist out there that's ever done this or ever witnessed this, can explain this phenomena, right? So what happens is it's a bit like traffic, right? Traffic shouldn't ever really stop on the motorway, should it? But it does. I don't know why, but it does. It should just be always going, right? Shouldn't it? So why the fuck does it stop? It should never stop. Well, on a CFT, so a tab, so this is a squatted tab, what happens is if you're at the front, and what they do is they put all the short asses at the front and then the people with bigger strides towards the back. And I don't know if this is what fucks it up. So if you're at the front, you can be walking, and then in the middle, they're doing like some sort of fucking weird half shuffle kind of thing because they can't quite walk and they're not fully running. But the back, you can be running the entire way, and you're all going the same pace because you're in a squad. How's that work? How? How does that work? It's like in traffic where if someone's just driving at a constant speed, they're fine. But then behind them, people are doing this fucking mad concertina thing where they're revving the bollocks off it and then having to brake hard. And like, explain that to me. Somebody, anyone with a fucking, I don't know how you do that. Ian Knight says hardest CFT was pre-Gulf War 1. Oh, where's that gone? It's just disappeared. Wearing an S10 respirator, the amount of blokes dying, puking, and then was shocking. I've only ever played touch rugby. Is the part apart from the gas chamber stuff, the only thing I've ever done wearing a respirator was we played touch rugby, and yeah, it's what happens is you can't get the air through the fucking holes in the respirator fast enough, so it just kind of goes to your face when you're trying to breathe in. It's rough. It's rough. There was a couple of the lads that used to wear them on the rowing machine, but that wasn't for me. That was absolutely gangster. That fuck that noise. Ashton United or Curzon Ashton? One of my mates' family kind of runs Curzon, so I'd probably go with Curzon. With me taking up hiking, I assume some aspect of it is to get a health benefit from it. The other question is, how do I stay motivated with it? Oh, I fucking like it. I mean, it's something I obviously did when I was in the military, and then I had a long time off because it fucking hurt me to go with my compartment syndrome. Like, literally, we would go out with my wife and we would try and do like Dove Stones or something like that. And sometimes I would be fine, and sometimes I would get like a mile in and be like, yeah, that's me, I'm fucking done, I can't go anywhere, I'm in fucking agony. Like, compartment syndrome's seriously painful. Um, it's hard work, man. What rugby team do I support? Salford Reds. Callum says thoughts on Mokiev's chances of becoming UFC champion at the end of 2024. I would say by the end of 2025 he will be UFC champion. When I do a scout report, how long does the research take you? Well, the research is done between myself and Ronaldo. so it can be a while. And Janine's in the comments here waving. Do I think Amir and Lacey should get some League Cup minutes next season? I would roll with that, yeah. Daniel says, got into walking during lockdown, really enjoyed it and kept going. Johnny D says, Hurst Crossman, you went to school there, brother. Yeah, but I got no affiliation with Ashton United whatsoever. Although, what I will say is it up here? Is that it? No. There is a book written by the guy that took over Ashton United with his dad, and it's fucking brilliant. It's really worth a listen to. I can't remember what it's called, but if someone wants to drop it in the comments, I'll read it out. Sapper says, Hardy CFT was short CFT over the BFT route in full C4 with Gat and Lid, introducing 87 and everyone failed it back to the 8 miler. Why? What was the pace? Why did everyone fail? Who's my favourite ever rugby player? Adrian Morley. S. Jewett says, I think Nick Cox is quality. What do I think? Will he stay? I would sound like it, wouldn't it? I would think so. Any tips on bulking up? Mate, I went from fucking like couldn't get any weight on to beefcake kick ass just by fucking eating. Yeah, I would say do that. Do I rate Carlos Queiroz, interested in how the squad seems split on him? Yeah, I think he probably gets a bit of an unfair rap because Roy Keane's very vocally anti Carlos Queiroz. Hesterine says, got a mate who was telling everyone he was climbing mountains. Turns out he was just doing laps of the estate. Started calling them road hikes, proper plum. How do I get over the mental hurdles? Where's that one gone? Doing these crazy physical demanding heights. It keeps the fucking voices semi-quiet. I don't know. I got a level of fucking frustration with everything. And I just don't have a fucking quit in me, I think, with it. So I'm just going to keep going. I'll tell you this, though, that fan dance, I mean, I talked about this a little bit last night, but that fan dance was fucking hard. And then I got in on Friday and Janine goes, are you booking that in again because we need to go fucking do it? What? All right, sweet. Ian says, have I watched Masters of the Air? Finally watched it and was blown away. I was told it was Band of Brothers level, so my expectation was literally the greatest thing that's ever been made. And it was good, but it wasn't the greatest thing that's ever been made. Andrew says, Steve, where can I find you to meet for the Cup semi-final? It'd be great to get a picture. All content is awesome. Well, thanks, but I don't know. I don't know I'm getting there yet, so I don't know where I'm going to be or what time I'm going to be there. Or even if I've got a ticket, we've applied, but I don't know. Can British Rugby League ever catch up with Australian Rugby League? Theoretically, yes. Realistically, no. Because British Rugby League is run by the RFL, and the RFL might as well be run by the fucking group chat here. In fact, we'd do a better job. It's unfathomably backward in its thinking. I mean, they appointed fucking Tony Adams as president of the RFL a few years back. Tony Adams knows as much about rugby league as I know about fucking show jumping. Like, honestly. And every time that they get a bit, like, peak for me, could be biased with this, but peak for me, Super League was a few years after they rebranded from the Rugby Football League to the Super League. And probably like around about 98, something like that. It was fucking awesome. And financially they were competing. The stadiums were full. The grand final was fucking electric. You talk about Leeds and St Helens and Wigan at that time were just fucking untouchable teams. And we would go and play the World Club Championships and the British teams would win comfortably sometimes as well. And this is at a time when you had some serious Origin series is going on because there were some serious players involved. And now it just feels like they've fucked with it too much and they have degraded the product and moved it around. You can't get a consistent kickoff time. You can't get a consistent channel. You can't get consistent regulations for the playoffs or for the grand finals, or just fucking leave it alone and concentrate on building your audience. Concentrate on, like, the RFL should fund a schools competition nationwide and put money into it, and then put money into coaching. I remember, being a rugby league player that grew up in schools, you would always have England rugby branded cars turn up at the school, and some fucker paid there by England Rugby Union to come and coach you. Rugby league never did anything like that. Why? That's what it needs. It's a minority sport in this country that might as well be called fucking M62 ball, because it's played from St Helens-ish to Hull. And then it's kind of picked up from your Wigans and St Helens and Warringtons. That's the hotbed of it, really. Then you get Leeds, Castleford. There's a couple of places in Cumbria. But realistically, it's fucking St Helens to Hull and a bit in between. And that's it, really. And is that the reason that it's like a fucking minority sport in the UK? You know what I mean? Notch says, I remember when Wigan were unstoppable until they played against Aussie teams. I mean, they still did pretty fucking well, like. David says, I remember you watching an old video you talking about Cruyff. Did I ever try practicing Cruyff's free diamond free formation training with your team? We've done it this year. I haven't done it for a full game, but we've played it this year. And I've done it in training a couple of times, actually, as well. But yeah, we have done it in game this year. We've done it, and I like it. Callum says, to be fair, being 20 my time at school rugby of any capacity isn't really pushed at all. Feels like sports fading away from what it was. It's fucking shit, innit? Oldham is or was a big rugby town. Yeah, it is. Yeah, I mean, there's some great fucking institutions around Oldham. Like, I played for Stadiuim Rangers growing up. It's a fucking great club. There's some great ones. Folly Lane, Langworthy. There's another one in Salford that I can't remember the name of. And then obviously you've got some fucking sensational ones. Your St Pat's, St Jude's and stuff like that. Ince, Woolston, around Wigan and Warrington and that. Andrew says, excited to see the Paddock lads in South Carolina. $400 a ticket is ridiculous with a 12-hour drive. Fucking hell. Are you aware that United has the most fans in Nigeria? No. Lebo says, I used to play for Langy. Also played in a school comp at the Willows way back. Fucking hell, the Willows. Hands up if you remember the Willows. I was lucky enough to play for Salford at the Willows. Not very often, but and not enough. But I was lucky enough to play for Salford at the Willows, which was nice. Ricardo says, buying a player for every needed position won't happen this summer, so if I could buy a first team player for 3 positions and 3 loan players for depth, what would it be? Let's loan another striker, buy a right winger, buy another centre mid, buy a centre half, loan a left back, and another loan, probably another centre half, like a third or fourth choice. Chips and Gravy says, sadly rugby league is lost. No culture attracting youngsters away from other sports. That's the madness, isn't it? Like, you think if you made good content about it, what rugby league needs is like a fucking solid Netflix series. That's what it fucking needs. And it would probably kick in with something like that. But it's got to go with opportunities. Like, there's no point in making, like, the most... Like, there's no point getting, like, fucking Quentin Tarantino to direct, like, a rugby league documentary and then not having pathways from schools into local clubs for people to do it. Luca Brazzi said, I played for De La Salle. That's a rugby union team, right? And also a football team full of bells, but I believe it's quite a respected rugby union team. My mate plays for De La Salle Rugby Union, actually, that I played rugby league with. Ian says, I was brought up Kennedy Road next to the Willows and climbed over the wall to watch every game. Old tight mud and pissing down games, superb atmospheres. Will Paddock come to San Diego in the summer? Probably. Do I think the club has an issue with its loan system? Most seem to go on loan and have problems. Yeah, 1,000,000%. And it just goes down to all, like, so Julian Lescott, who's an absolute ledge, was the loan manager at Manchester City. I don't even know if we have that position at Manchester United. But that's someone that's mentoring all the lads that are on loan, going over their tape, talking through what they've done right, what they've done wrong, all that sort of stuff. Lee says the peeps who run VAR should take a look at our rugby league. Do it. Rugby league VAR is much better. I don't know if it is, or maybe it is because football's is so bad. But nah, I think even if rugby league VAR is bad, because, and this was my issue before it came into football, that things that were just used to be a try now go to the video assistant ref just to check. Fuck off. Just fucking give it as a try. Why am I putting so much pressure on Manu? He's put Manu as well, by the way. He shouldn't definitely be going to the Euros at all. One, I don't think I've said he should definitely be going to the Euros. And two, I'm not putting pressure on him. The kid's 18 playing out of his fucking skin for United and England. Don't worry about him. No one's putting any pressure on him at all that he can't handle. Did I see Jonathan Lew's article about how shit Southgate is at making subs? No, actually. But yet more proof if we needed that he should nowhere near United. No, I've not. Rank all England managers in my lifetime. Bobby Robson, and who fucking cares? Mark says, Steam, men and women who decide to join the armed forces, I feel, are incredible people. My question, I don't go that far. My question is, how difficult was it to reintegrate into civilian life? I don't know if I fucking have reintegrated into civilian life. I still swear far too much. That's one hangover that the army will never get. I think veterans are the sweariest people known to man, but it's such an effective punctuation point on your vocabulary, isn't it? It's a robust industrial language. Hence, swearing like a fucking trooper is a phrase. No one says polite like a soldier, did they? I wouldn't necessarily tar all people are fucking incredible just because they served. And also, people join for a million different reasons. I've been speaking to a fair few, friends, colleagues, acquaintances in the last couple of weeks. I literally went and had a chat with the army when I was in Wales this week about potentially doing some content with them. And when because I want to help recruit, but I want to help recruit the way I do everything, which is hopefully authentically. And I'll tell you, there's shit jobs in the army. There's shit jobs that I don't understand why people do them, but they do them. And there's some fantastic jobs in the army. And there's some fantastic careers to be had in the army. But there's good and bad points with every single job and every single career. And that's not just the army. I guess the RAF, the Navy, the Marines, they've all got the good and bad parts to them. But I don't think you can just... I find that Americanism of the thank you for your service thing makes no fucking sense to me. And I feel because it's almost like Tourette's with Americans to say that. I feel like it's lost its authenticity. I do like the British stoic attitude to it as is quite, well, maybe just because I'm British it fits more. Like that, it's had ideas just to fucking downplay everything, innit? I want to be in the army since I was 6. And it's interesting the things that impact on recruitment. You got to think 2007, 2008, 2009, what was going on? Well, you had peak Afghanistan, peak Iraq tours. Lads was getting on operations. It was in the news, in your face all the time. You also had a global recession. It was kind of the perfect storm for recruitment. Whereas there's a recruitment crisis at the moment because there's fuck all going on. What are the good jobs? It depends on the person. Like, without knowing someone or knowing what they're like, what should I join? I don't know. I don't fucking know you. Like, but there are good jobs to be had, and there's absolutely good careers. What influenced me so early to join the army at such a young age? I don't know. But that all I ever wanted to do. What car do we end up buying? It'll be the next video. Notch has heard an England fan say Manu's not experienced enough and they should play Phillips. Notch says there's no such thing as bad words, just bad intentions. Some say as far as swearing is concerned. Yeah. I tend to find that people who are fucking offended by the sweary words. I mean, soldiers probably use the word fuck or fucking just to buy a little bit of time in thinking, I think. We do swear too much. And I get that it's not nice listening to, but get a fucking grip. Just Me says get into the remit and get a trade. If that's for you, it isn't for everyone. That isn't the case for everyone. Jay says, what's it like to get shot of and the feeling of fight or flight in your life? When you're on the receiving end of incoming, it takes you this is something I've never quite seen Hollywood get right. Generation Kill kind of gets this a little bit. I don't think they have this exact scenario though. When incoming's coming in, it can sometimes take a little bit of a minute to figure out that it's incoming coming in, because sometimes it sounds like outgoing and you don't actually know for sure. When you realize that it's actually coming in, what happens is your heart rate goes through the motherfucking roof. You start to, basically adrenaline kicks in and you start to breathe. Even if you've not moved, you will start to breathe like you've just sprinted 100 meters. And after a few months of that happening on a daily basis, you start to recognize that and almost laugh at it, because you just feel you start going from like normal breathing to and then you go, fucking am I breathing like that for? It's weird. It's very fucking weird. That gamer guy says, lived in Oz for 9 years now. You realise how far the NRL is ahead of Super League very quickly. Been to every grand final since 2015 in Sydney. Been to most Origins in Sydney. The game is different. Yeah, I could absolutely buy that. Absolutely. Should soldiers take any moral responsibility for the wars? If not, is it not condescending? Can't completely remove it, but you also can't really say that it's their fault or not their fault. It's a grey area, I think. Sap says only a soldier can call another soldier see you next Tuesday without him getting triggered because it's used as a term of endearment. I mentioned Iraq. Did the way that conflict put country off any intervention for ages? Syria for me was one of those we should have done something, but hangover from Iraq didn't help. As someone mentioned at the top of the show, we did one of these for 3 hours a while ago. Whenever Ukraine kicks off, because basically Ukraine got invaded that night and we just ended up doing a 3-hour long one. There's been a terrorist attack in Russia this past weekend, and I've got a lot of questions about it, because my understanding of what that particular ICE-based organization do and figure it out, ICE, it didn't come across as how they do it. Recently they kind of got into doing a lot of video production. And it's like, if I do a hike, you're going to fucking know about it if you follow me on Instagram. Yet none of their media channels was saying anything about it. It's fucking reeks of an intelligence service doing something, I'm going to be honest with you. And then why? Is someone trying to draw Russia into a wider conflict with everybody else? And if so, why? There's a lot going on, and I don't know. I really don't know. But it's one of them, innit? Should soldiers be made to take a Hippocratic oath? No, I think it's different. Ivan says, do I think the way the world is moving, would there be a big war coming? Right. If my wife is still in the chat, she will confirm this. I think there's a fucking World War III kicking off probably twice a month. Daniel says, no intervention. Middle East needs to be left alone permanently. Deadman says, I find in America, if you live somewhere where there are a lot of military bases, it's become a lot less special. And when you hear someone is in the armed forces, you just end up saying, oh, that's cool. It's probably the same in the UK. Oliver says, I can't help but imagine how different the job market will be in 5 years, never mind 10, 20 or 30. Don't think people should write anything off. Yeah, shit moves with a quickness. I mean, does the last 5, like, roll it back to 2019, right? Ollie's just been appointed. Does the last 5 years feel real? Because I don't really know what the fuck's been going on. I'll be honest with you. Mark says, stay notice Rugby Union and Welsh, but my son is playing in the Millennium Stadium on the 7th of April. The Nelly Wallers. Give Dylan a shout out. I'll clip it for him. He's skiing in the French Alps at the moment. Fucking hell. He's got to be in the forces doing daft shit like that with that sort of regularity. Colin says, same as when I'm competing in jiu-jitsu, run out of breath 20 seconds in. Have I watched Britain's Funniest Soldier video on YouTube? That is my friend Jez. That's a lad I was in basic training with, and we got into, like, just think about how much of a gobshite you think I am now. Roll it back 20 years, right? Imagine the level of gobshite I was 20 years ago. Then put me with him into the same fucking class. Oh, we got ragged. We got absolutely ragged because he didn't shut up, I didn't shut up, and we both fucking gobbed off. So, yeah. Yeah, that's my mate, Jez. He's a Chelsea fan, if anyone's wondering. He's Welsh, but he's a Chelsea fan. And he's a fucking bell, and I love him dearly. Have I seen it? Fucking hell, yeah. Dave, he's just answering one from the start. Cat Dealey. Starts says, I played football for Aldershot Town. It's a military town. It is indeed. Also played at Sandhurst Barracks. Nice. Stuart says, blind support for the army is never good for society. Yeah, I'd roll with that, in all honesty. I think it's... I'll put it this way, right? Don't you see there's a big sort of panic on the BBC with all the fucking poppy watchers? I think it's a beautiful thing that so many people voluntarily choose to remember in the way that they do. And I think if you police it and made people do it, it removes the authenticity and the meaning behind it. So I wouldn't make anybody, and I would just acknowledge the fact that millions and millions of people across the country decide to remember. And I think that's what makes it special. Don't mean to bring the conversation back to football, but how would someone go about getting their coaching badges? Your local FA website. Simple as that. Your local FA website. Get your level 1, get your level 2. And then you don't really get to go any further because getting on a UEFA B is like fucking gold dust. Oliver Edwards says, I would prefer we didn't have an army. That doesn't mean we don't need one. I wouldn't prefer that we didn't have an army because I think it's an excellent role. I think it's an excellent job, and I think it's an excellent deterrent. UK versus Russia, no nukes, who wins? If you'd have asked me 4 years ago, I would have said, fucking hell, surely Russia's got the numbers and the capabilities. Now I've seen their fucking tactics, their kit, their logistics. I reckon we'd have it fucking boxed off in a fortnight. And I'm not kidding. I think it'd be boxed off in a fortnight. The only thing that UK hasn't got at the moment is the numbers. But pound for pound, soldier for soldier, the two things Britain hasn't got at the moment, which is fucking important. And as always, people take this out of context, but Britain's lost a lot of experience since Northern Ireland no longer became an active tour, since Iraq shut down, since Afghanistan shut down. A lot of that experience has signed off. There's now lads hitting sergeant that haven't done operational tours. When I was going through basic training, my corporals, sergeants, colour sergeants, staff sergeants had fucking medal racks like this. You're like, oh my god! But they'd gone through some of them Falklands, Gulf War One, Kosovo, Bosnia, like Sierra Leone, like the fucking rack was outrageous. Whereas now you're getting people hitting sergeant, colour sergeant, probably not quite sergeant major level yet, but it'll be coming. That I've got a Jubilee medal, no operational experience. That's a problem. That is a problem. Speak says, got my purple belt in no gi recently, still brown in a gi. Did I train specifically or just MMA? I did catch wrestling, which isn't graded. Let me roll this at you, because I saw this the other day and it made me fucking piss myself, right? Purple belt means you are a fucking killer, right? But it's the middle belt. Does that mean you're mid? Realistically, probably not, because if you looked at the bell curve of jiu-jitsu practitioners, fucking this many are going to be white belt, this many will be blue belt, there's a slither that are purple belt, a slither at black, brown and black. So you're probably still in the top fucking 25%, I would imagine, somewhere like that. But technically, you're mid, right? Would you agree? Proficiency Music says you've got the US coming in to help. Yeah, you do. You will, and you will. But the question was UK versus Russia. That's the issue, isn't it? What's my dream car? 1965 AC Cobra 427. Brandon says, genuine question, how many sausage rolls is too many? Well, that depends on the factors they're in. How many people are coming? Would I have preferred to do a coaching course abroad? If so, where would I do it? I'd either do Germany or Holland if I could speak the language and actually get what they were saying. I think that would be a great way to do it. Damiano says, can I be your assistant? I'm looking to do my coaching badges. Well, we are looking for coaches for our reserves. I want to get our reserves going again for next season. So there's definitely staff required, but I have an assistant in Parker and he's a ledge. He's going nowhere. Do I watch The Sopranos? No, never seen it. If the Glazers leave fully away on for the sausage roll party, yes, and it'll be rum sausage rolls. Do I think Nukes will ever come into it? No, I feel like no one's going to bother with them now. I feel like it was probably a very fucking likely possibility at some stage, but that's not been the case. Opinion on Gyökeres sporting ex-Brighton. We've got a scout report that we're going to be doing on him, so wait out on that one. Not says, not one single 100-metre sausage roll, that might be too many. Yeah. Speak says, it means we've got knowledge enough to formulate our own style, but there's a gulf of mat time and experience between us and the black belts unless you're a monster like the pros. Yeah, I guess, as always, conditioning and physicality is going to level it up. If you come across like a 125-pound black belt, there is and you're a 265 shaved gorilla, it's going to level out, isn't it? Shane says no such thing as too many sausage rolls. Colin says, I'm a purple belt. I hear saying purple are basically black belt and couldn't disagree more. Brown and black are truly different level, but purple does require actually good. I've never come across a purple belt that was shit. They're all good. They're all good. I think you can come across some blues that are a bit fucking wayward at times, but purples, yeah. I'd say purple's just a black belt in weight. If they keep showing up, they're getting it, I would assume. Have I ever considered doing 10 tours as an IRL event? What is 10 tours? I don't think I've heard of that. Shabat says, I heard about your plantar fasciitis issue. I used to have the issue when I was playing rugby. Now I've dropped my weight down a lot leaner. I don't have this issue anymore. Yeah, I mean, it's obviously a factor, as is mobility in my ankles and calves, and so long with the compartment syndrome is one of those. What alien show actually made me believe aliens exist? I don't know. It was probably like Neil deGrasse Tyson just talking about that. It's a mathematical fucking certainty that they're probably out there somewhere. Um, Hello from Texas, says Andrew. Wanted to meet you when you came to the US. Always feel sorry about you, Man United sorrow, and hope keep up the good content, sir. Cheers, mate. Oliver says the answer to how many sausage rolls is always one more when you ask. After buying one more, it's still one more. Is this Diego Simeone's year? Favourable side of the draw. It could be, you know, and he is the sort of tactician that could shithouse his way through, I think. Let me just get back on the questiones. There's some I would have missed, I'm sure. Would I take Bowen at United? I think, yeah, it could probably be a decent signing. What's my favourite Slow Readers Club album? The Joy of the Return. It's banger from start to finish. And it came out the day we all got locked up for COVID, so they never got to tour with it. Which is a bit of a pain in the ass, I imagine. New stadium or renovate? I would say renovate, but I feel like they're going to build a new stadium by the looks of it. Oh, Roadhouse verdict. So, if Janine's in the chat, she's going to say I was on my phone the whole way through it, and she is right. But I was on my phone the whole way through it because it was fucking boring. And the CGI fight scenes, or what I think they've done is they've filmed them in one frame rate and then sped it up to make it. It was just fucking rubbish. Wasn't having it. Anthony says the Drake equation proves aliens exist, whether or not we're close enough in space time to reach them, or vice versa. Yeah. Witterbird says Mike from the Realist. Really, pizza is terrible, but good to see you, honey. Huh? Oh, missed something there. Thriller says, do I think us humans might be aliens who deserted a dying planet? Well, there's some theory that they spliced. There's a word that you didn't expect to hear tonight. Human DNA with primate DNA, which is why we formed our own chain of primates. And honestly, out of all the wacko theories that are out there, it's one that I could fuck with, to be honest with you. Knight says, if different countries have their own traditional styles, what do I think England's style should be? Well, England's style, which the 70s and 80s kind of shown you, was very aggressive. It was probably, realistically, it was probably high press, direct, aka long ball, percentage football. Get it in the fucking mixer. Very aggressive, sort of fucking fast, hard tackling football. And the reason that developed was because of the fucking pitches that we are forced to play on in the winter. You can't dribble and you can't pass on fucking mud baths, which we are forced to play on. A fat super chat here from Noob Gone Bad says, mate asked me if we've got any good DMs coming from the academy. Sent him 10 Fitzgerald compilations and he told me that he looks like a young Roy Keane. I've never compared him to Roy Keane, but now I cannot unsee it. I'm going to have to go watch and find out because Roy Keane's one of my favourite footballers. Glenn says, is his acting as shit as his whiskey? What I would say is, I think he was just being himself. Have I tried Cornish Bambo rum? I don't think so. Ian says, I heard Trevor McDonald admit he was terrified interviewing Saddam Hussein. Which leader from the past would have chills in your spine being in the same room with? The fucking mustache man? You know the one? The Austrian fella? Have you seen that video of him, by the way, fucking tweaking out at the Olympics? Just absolutely fucking gacked out of his mind. Is that a dog behind me? Yes, that is a dog behind me. Diesel. Diesel. That one there. Yep, that's a dog. Can tell Connor ain't an actor. Fact. Carl says, hi Steve, love the IRL with a new blood and exciting AI. Do I see us holding on to Rasmus, Garner and Kobe? Yeah. Which striker that wasn't R9 or Batigol do I wish we got in the 90s? The 90s. Alan Shearer? Might have heard of him. He was pretty good. Johnny D says the Earth is flat. My fucking hoop is it flat, mate. Jonathan says 3 Body Problem is a brilliant series. Conspiracy Theory or Aliens. Roadhouse was dog shit. Jack says, why do I reckon Irish international football is in the bin? We are seeing Scottish and even Welsh football at a different standard. I think it's probably due to the fact that the domestic league isn't quite as strong. But how do you get that stronger? I mean, from a nation size, I mean, like Uruguay is producing on a sensational level. Why can't Wales, Scotland, Ireland compete with that? I don't know why. Is Brexit having an impact because so many players that would have come over previously are now no longer not? I don't know. It's sad to see though, because Ireland's created some of the fucking best footballers we've ever seen, and it'd be a sad time if that was to cease. Batter shoot would have been amazing for us, says Glenn. His wages were fucking bonkers. Starlord says my favourite centre forward is Rude and always will be. Am I a homeless cat? No, but I know the reference. Is he still doing like every fucking podcast in the world, by the way? What breed is it? Allegedly a Staffy. But he's skinny. He's actually nearly 15. You know what I mean that? Diesel. Come here, this way. He is going a little bit deaf, but apart from that, come here. Apart from going a little bit deaf, he still acts a bit like a puppy. Did I see McGregor's interview off his head? He don't look well in that, does he? Alex says another 99 I would have loved is Del Piero, baller. Glenn says our grassroots footy is shockingly bad over here in Northern Ireland. No bloody government doesn't help. No. Same here, to be fair, though. I think facilities is the biggest one. He don't look like a Staffy. He's a skinny Staffy. Are we ever going to interview Fergie with Ferdinand on 5? Rio's fucking trying to hook it up. But he's just not down for it. I don't know if he doesn't know what they are or he does, and that's the issue. I don't know. Because the country is divided into 2 leagues and then GAA takes a load of interest. But even with that, it's surely still enough. Peter Kelly says Brexit isn't an issue for Ireland and England. Really? Why not? What's the hardest aspect of running a football team? It's like having 30 fucking kids. And specifically in our area, like if I had our own facility, which obviously costs a lot to do, but if we did have our own facility, I would have 1,000 kids playing in Paddock kits right now, and I would have a pathway right through to the first team like that, because there's so much interest from people that want to come and do it. But getting facilities is the fucking nightmare, and the facilities that are available are so fucking expensive. Gaming Midget says Welsh domestic league is shit. It's just the Welsh players in the Prem and the Championship carrying it. Yeah, but they've got the opportunities, because it's in some cases like a fucking half an hour drive to go and get into like academies in England, isn't it? Would I recommend a good first wild camping place for my son and hubby? Where do you live? See, wild camping is quite new to me, right? And one of the videos that I tried to shoot, what was it, 2 weeks ago? 2 or 3 weeks ago? was why did we not do that? Oh, it was the Kyle Walker interview. That was why. So I was gonna go and do a wild camp locally, and I'm gonna do it. Not quite. I'm not gonna fucking dig myself a shell scrape, but almost. I'm gonna do it with an army poncho, and do it very similar to how I would have done it when I was in the army, without digging in, essentially. Because that's what camping out is still to me. I've also got like a 3-person, quite spendy tent. We have a big fucking family tent that it's fucking this big, packed up, right? And it weighs like 20 kg. That's the one that we take when we go to Cornwall and stuff. But to me, I don't know what I rationalise in my head as that is, but that to me isn't camping, even though it's fucking clearly camping. So I'm in the transition of going from sleeping out under a tarp in the army to sleeping in a tent with like my family and my mates. That's at the moment they don't line up. So what I was going to do is I was going to do a video on Howson IRL where I look at camping, and we'll call it like, you know, bivvy camp or under a tarp. It's a poncho to me, and anyone else who's Brit is one of those, isn't it? And we'll do that with just like, here's how to do it in a nutshell. Very, very basic stuff. Like I have a poncho in there with jungle knots on. Just get me in a wood block and I'm fucking happy, leave me alone. Versus wild camping, say up the top of Kinder Scout or something like that. Yeah, it's not something I'm mega experienced in. So we will be going on that journey together on the IRL channel, if you're into that sort of shit. Oh, Baggio. But see, someone said Baggio for a 90 striker. He was more of a number 10, so I wouldn't think of him as an out-and-out striker. Can Rio get Khabib on a podcast? Possibly, actually. What happened with Ashley Young? Do I rate Joe Hart? Not really. Farrell says, next time you go to Cornwall, stop off at Dartmeet on Dartmoor. You can swim in the river, wild horses. You could probably sneak a wild camp further up the river. I believe you can still wild camp in Dartmoor, right? Technically legal. So wild camping in the UK is trespassing because someone owns every bit of land. I believe outside of Dartmoor. In Scotland, you do what you fucking want. In England, outside of Dartmoor, it's technically illegal. But all that's going to happen is someone's going to go, do you mind fucking off? And then you fuck off. And then you pitch up your tent somewhere else. But it's a bit of a... it's a bit of a fucking ball ache in it that no one really wants to do. So yeah, wild camping we'll be doing guides and shit like that on how to do it. What are my thoughts on Oppenheimer? I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good film. I enjoyed it, yeah. I don't know if I'd call it like a 10 out of 10 or anything, but yeah, it was all right. Johnny D says, I bought a 2-man and 3-man 3-second tents from Reactive Outdoor for 150 delivered and 2 ground sheets. I can't type fast. What have we just bought? It's a Nemo, Dagger, Osmo, 3-person fucker. Am I coming to Saudi anytime soon? Not on my plan, to be honest. MUFC really says, try camping in the Australian outback. That's wild. I would, but you can fuck off with your snakes and your spiders. How about that? How about that? No. Why do goalkeepers never choose to be managers? Don't know. You got to think there's generally a lot less of them in the sport, isn't there? And there has been a couple of good ones, just not loads. Nuno Espirito Santo, he's a goalkeeper, isn't he? But yeah, I would argue they're probably less still. Let me check on Insta and make sure I've got the last couple of these. What do I take on a walk up the mountain? 3 essentials that you must have. Well, we are doing a video on this. A fucking navigational aid, so map and compass. I also download the OS maps on my phone and have them, so I've got them offline. I would always take a backpack. And for me, because I've got fucking big old rugby player thighs, long-legged underwear so you don't get fucking chub rub and chafing, because that's just going to ruin your fucking day. Chips with gravy or curry? I mean, both are good. There's no wrong answer there, really. Favorite military non-fiction book? Code Over Country by Matthew Cole. Paddock pre-season prep. Well, actually, Aaron is sorting that out right this second. They might be going doing some military stuff. They'll be doing all sorts, yeah. It'll be good. Have we taken Ronaldo and Blake to Blue Planet yet? No, we took Blake recently, and we were shocked how shit it was. Do I think I could get Ash, Rio, and Joel camping? Fuck no. Where do we visit in Cornwall? We usually base somewhere around Perranporth, and then me and Janine have quite similar personality in a lot of this, that we're both, I know it's probably some level of ADD, that we can't really sit on a beach and just do fuck all for the day, so we go somewhere different every single fucking day. So the good thing about Cornwall is everywhere's close by. So you've got Charlestown, I think it's called, you've got St Ives, you've got Newquay, you've got things like Tintagel. Like this, it's all right there for you, and it's awesome. I haven't seen Dune Part 2 or Part 1. Ryan Star Wars says, "Hi Steve, I work in an advanced construction company that makes skyscrapers and stadiums, and a bit behind the scenes, Jim has been round the sites to view ideas on the stadium. New stadium on the car park, and use specialist moving equipment and hydraulics to move the whole stadium into place after the old stadium has been knocked down. What's my thoughts on this?" How fucking much is that going to cost? Jesus. I mean, if you're knocking it down, it's not the same pitch. So, Janine's in the comments, says, the more people that do wild camp and respect the land and leave no trace, landowners are fine with these usually. It's the ones that have barbecues and treat it like a festival, they ruin it for people. Well, we went to Thor's Cave recently. Now, we didn't make a video about this, we just went and did it. And I was a bit fucking annoyed that at the entrance to Thor's Cave, I just looked down and there was like a couple of like blown out barbecues, some bottles and cans and stuff like that. It takes nothing to fucking hike it out with you if you hiked it in there, does it? To not fucking ruin it. This is an awesome little spot. Keep it a fucking awesome spot, you set of pricks. Anthony says, I camped in the outback for 3 months. I've been more nervous of the chavs in the UK than snakes, etc. in the outback. Here's the thing, right? If you go up a fucking mountain, the chavs aren't going up a mountain. And most of the time that you go up a mountain, it's probably going to be a Friday or a Saturday night, right? The chavs aren't climbing up 600, 700, 800 meters to just fuck with someone in a tent. So you're fine. But there's another reason why dogs are awesome. Just get a dog and have a dog with you, and the dog will fuck them off. Would I sell Rashford if PSG offer 45 million? Yeah, and I'd say, and you can have the other leg when you pay the other 45 million. Scott says Darren Ferguson is our loans manager. What is it? He told Rio that was a major part of his job. Oh, you mean Darren Fletcher? What's the best Christopher Nolan film? Ooh. I feel like Dark Knight's the answer to this. Did I get over to the Brecon Beacons? Yeah, I was there last week. Do I still enjoy content creation, or does it feel more like a job now? I enjoy the IRL stuff, and the football stuff. I enjoy this because this doesn't feel like anything. This is just this, isn't it? The football stuff, when because there's so much to make, that can feel a little bit like work, and especially if United lose. I don't really want to do it when United lose. It's funny because the thing that's flung at like football content creators is, oh, you do fucking better when United lose. I don't at all. One, I don't want to do it, and two, the fucking you lot don't want to watch it. So I think the people who are overreactionary bells, they do, but I like to think I'm not that, and the numbers are obvious. Like you can see it when we do well. Like my review and 5 things do fucking far better. Ever been interested in fishing? Fuck no. Glenn says, sitting in a garage, just put diesel in the car. Now I'm watching some absolute mooncat put duct tape over someone's windscreen. Now a full fire's broken out, only in Northern Ireland. Glenn, we need more information. Deadman says, I'm a heavier guy, but I love to run. Any tips on managing the pain? Fuck no. I'm the wrong guy for that because I will just fucking keep doing it until until it hurts and I can't do it anymore, and then I'll rest until it stops hurting, and then just fucking do it again. I think it's called being dumb. Oliver says, on one of his arms when he gives a further 200 mil. Back to things that matter. Ten Hag is gone in the summer. Do you get De Zerbi before Liverpool or Man City do? Not sure. Not sure on that one. Sire says, planning a trip to the UK/Manchester to visit Old Trafford for a weekend game before they tear it down. Do we think it'll be another couple of years before United stop playing there? I would assume so, yeah. I imagine this thing's going to be a minute or two in the planning. Ryan Star Wars says, it's more money, yes, but the idea is they would actually save money as you don't have to pay to play in a different stadium and fans don't have to travel. Interesting. I've ever been to New Zealand? No. Matthew says, just read my old chat, meant to say there's a big want for amputee football in Manchester. Could be something to appeal with vets with. Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of people reached out about doing some stuff with vets, and of course, I am absolutely here for that. Previn says, I only watch you when we lose because you actually do analysis of why we lost, but I don't watch any of the complaining videos from the other channels because I don't need that in my life when I'm mad. Yeah, I mean, there's actually so many instances where I've just not been bothered to do a fucking video, and this is my job. Like, if I don't make content, I don't get to pay the fucking rent on a studio or my mortgage. But I don't want to do content sometimes, so I don't. Sam says, I'd like to hear from Glenn, please. King Cantona says, it's a routine, mate. Watch the game, then come watch your match reaction. Same goes for post-match analysis and the scout reports. Cheers, mate. Alex says, Steve, have I ever watched alternative MUFC on Twitter with his funny comms and nicknames for the players? Yeah. Hey, Mike Keegan just tweeted, Manchester United stadium designers get gig for 115,000 capacity mega project. That's what I'm fucking talking about. Ben says, I love a bit of Penny Fan and Fanny Big. Good on you. Peter says, do I go to local gigs for unsigned artists in and around Manchester? Mate, I barely have enough fucking time to do anything. No. I barely get to go and see the bands I want to see, let alone fucking go and sign some unknown ones, because what an absolute fucking roll of the dice that can be sometimes. Why does the media repeatedly link us with Southgate? Recent content has been quite good. Keep up the good work. I don't know if some of it was SEO seeding because they knew that England were playing. So United, listen, watch for international breaks in the future. United will always be linked to somebody playing something in one of the international breaks. Steven says, when are we getting the new video revealing the IRL wagon? The new wheels look sick, by the way. Probably next week. Anthony says, would I join the home guard if and when we needed one? Who did I hear talk about this the other day? There was a lad on TikTok that when, if they did like the equivalent of like the home guard / the Dad's Army lot that happened in World War II, if that sort of broke out now, can you fucking imagine? Because it'd just be all Afghan. Probably some of the older heads would be Falklands vets, Gulf War One, Iraq and Afghanistan vets. Fucking hell. You better hope that you don't fucking beat the lads that are still getting it, because then you'll fucking come and get to all the experience back here. You get fucking tuned in. Andorra's Revenge says on Microdot prints are very cool. Yeah, so Microdot are I think they're a graphic design company that essentially were contracted by Oasis to create their album artwork and stuff like that, and that's obviously a poster for the main road gig, and that is the guy that actually wrote Definitely Maybe. It isn't like a computer font, it's his handwriting, so he's done them. I don't know if you can just see at the bottom, probably not. It's one of one, and it's to Steve. Remember, it's all part of the master plan. Lovely. What's a good time to visit to Manchester to watch United play? Probably when there's a United game on, I would say. Chris says, Mac born and bred but now live in USA. I watched the game on ESPN and watched Steve Nicol Aftermath Meltdown. It was brilliant. He was hurting to the point of froth from the mouth. Do I think we'll get 100k 1,000-seater? I think so. Yet to see a comment from anywhere that Southgate actually wants to manage us. Does anyone actually want him? Any good comedy clubs in Manchester? Yeah, several. Frog and Bucket seems to be the biggest one. Lipstick says, home guard, I'm 63. I can't walk upstairs without having to catch my breath. Yeah, but that's after fucking fun, isn't it? Was I too young for Oasis at Nebworth? Yeah, I think I was 13, maybe even 12. So yeah, unfortunately I was. Who's the Argentina shirt in the 5 studio? You mean my studio? That would be my Maradona shirt, which I've had for about 20 years. And the reason it was a Maradona shirt is because that's normally where the print, like the graffiti print of all the Paddock stuff goes, because it was in Manchester that we filmed it. Nostalgic Neil says, I'm shit scared that Real Madrid will come get Garnacho. What's my thoughts? Yeah, could happen. Have I seen SEAL Team? Yeah, it's all right, actually. Can we all just take a minute to remember how fucking good Mainu is, says Anthony. Do I game when I have free time? I don't have free time. Ever. So, possibly would be the answer. But no, I don't really get any free time. Like, I know what my entire week looks like right now. Let me tell you. So, it'll be up at 7 a.m. I'm going to try and do a walk in the morning, get back, shower, take Blake to school, go and get my train to London. I'm in London all day, get back around about 6 o'clock, and that's me done for the day. Tuesday, I try and get to the office a little bit later because I stick around right until training, so I'm going to be in the office like 12 till 8, something like that, which means 7 a.m. wake up. I'm going to try and do 4K run tomorrow, take Blake to school, then I'm going to the gym. It's a push session, 9 till 10. Then I've got to reshoot an advert that we did, the Teach Hanley one. Then I'll probably go live once I get in. I've got to do some stuff for the fan channel. I'll probably do Patreon pod with Ben. And then I'll go and take training. and I get home from training about just after 11, half 11, something like that, tomorrow night, before midnight. Wednesday, we are out doing some IRL stuff. I've got to finish off the car video, which is coming out probably the week after. We've got a Beer 52 ad to shoot, and we're going to get some photos as well. So that's Wednesday. And then Thursday, I'm hoping to do a mountain bike ride, and then I'll be in the office to do Heads Gone with Ash, Off the Bar with the lads, and Howson versus for the week, plus my own content. And then Friday is pull in the gym, and then in at the office. It is Good Friday in it, but it'll be one of those. And then all the way through till 5 o'clock when we do the brew, and then home. And then Saturday we'll have a game with Paddock. And then I think United's 8 o'clock in it. So, bit of a fucking mad one. It's a busy week. Anonymous says you're free Monday night. I am, but Janine works, so I can't do fuck all because I've got a baby to look after. Would I ever consider making more MMA content? Just don't have time. I've had to figure out what works and ultimately what's best put in my time, and it's best where it is at the moment. Irish Oreo says, ask Ash to list this out and he'll still be trying to remember what he has tomorrow. You're not wrong. Although I know he's on his way to Wales at the moment, ahead of Tuesday. O's baby. She is 5 and she don't fucking shut up. She's hard work. I took her with me today to the expo and she had a good old time, I think. So yeah, it's one of those. Righty-ho, I'm going to roll anyway, but enjoy your week. Make sure you're productive. Go and kick it in the dick. And get whatever you need sorted. Enjoy. See you in the next one. Bye-bye. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, five-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.